Hi friends, winter is coming and I want to help you prepare, so I'm going to share with you the lessons I learned from last winter. Welcome to Botanical Woman, I'm Christine. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. Now let's get into it. One of the most important things you will have to do this winter is to water less. That is the biggest lesson I had to learn during my first winter with my houseplants. And what does that really mean? For me, it mostly meant to let the plant really dry between watering. So let's just say in the summer, you water your plants somewhere between 7 to 10 days. In the winter time, cut that back almost by half. What you're really looking for is for the pot to be almost completely dry. And certain plants like a ficus or begonias, they're not gonna like that as much. So, you're gonna have to change your watering, like water those types of plants a little bit more frequently. But for the most part, like your philodendrons will be able to be completely dry before you water them again, and also your monsteras. Also keep in mind that if your plant is in a bigger pot, say an 8-inch and up, it's gonna retain moisture a lot longer versus a 4-inch pot. So you're going to have to vary your watering based on the size pot the plant is in. So more medium holds more moisture, so water less in the wintertime. Traditionally, I like to use a watering can. I really like being able to control the flow of the water, but I find that for the winter time, this can be a little bit too much water. So actually this little guy I like to use. It's kind of a pain because you have to keep filling it up, but it really limits the amount of water that comes out. I'm pretty heavy-handed as far as watering, so this really helps me out. Another tip about watering is that you really want to water lightly. So this goes with the type of tool you're going to be using to water your plants. You want to just water it so that a little bit of water drips out of the pot, because usually in the summertime I like to just bring my plants over to the sink and just give them a good drench once in a while. You're not going to want to do that in the winter. It's really getting it barely wet, just enough so that it takes a little pee out of the drainage hole. Otherwise, you're going to see a lot of yellowing leaves, which I did last winter, and it was a little bit scary, but the plants survived. You just have to take it as a warning sign. If you see the older leaves yellowing and they start falling off, especially on my Dracaena sunray, it was not happy. So really reduce your watering if you start to see your plants getting yellow leaves. Winter is a good time to get on top of your pest control. All your spider mites, thrips, mealybugs, whatever you got, they are kind of chilling. They're not dead. They're just kind of hanging back. They're not, reproducing as much. Their growth kind of slows down a lot, just like your plants. Spray it very thoroughly. I like to use this systemic. It really helps with a lot of your pest problems minus spider mites. And for spider mites specifically, I create a spray solution using Castile soap. Watch this video that I did previously. I kind of talk about it there. Get on top of your pest problem. And then once spring comes around, that's when they really start booming and reproducing. Then you'll have a good handle on it already because you've done due diligence, over the winter. So over the winter, you're gonna have less airflow in comparison to the summer because you are not opening the windows and the doors as much. So if you want, you can have a fan running. I know some people do, because spider mites really like areas where there's dead air. So keep that in mind. This helps bring us to the next topic, which is about humidity. Do you need a humidifier to get you through the winter because you're turning on the heat? For me personally, we do not turn on the heat in this apartment. I live in Seattle, zone 8. It doesn't get super cold. We do leave the thermostat at 65, and it does come on maybe for a very short period of time, just so that it stays at 65. We live in an apartment, so we're pretty well insulated. So not turning the heat on has really helped maintain the humidity since it also rains so much here. If you are going to turn on the heat, I would move your plants as far away from that vent as possible. If you have another room that you can kind of isolate them and keep the temperature in that room 65 and above without having to turn on a heat constantly, I think that would be really good for your plants and you wouldn't have to run a humidifier. I also have a video on how you can like DIY kind of pebble trays and things like that to help with the humidity. It does help a little bit, and grouping your plants together definitely help with keeping, the moisture in that area. But overall, I found myself last winter filling the humidifiers every 2-3 days, and it was just a lot of work, and I just don't think it's worth it. You just don't see the same result. If you really, really want to baby your plants over the winter, I recommend you get a greenhouse. If you really want your plants to do really well and really pretend like it's the summer, grow tent, greenhouses is your way to go. There's also very popular these days, people are hacking IKEA cabinets to turn them into greenhouses, so that's also something you can do, or you can get a plastic one off of Amazon. One thing that I learned last winter was growing my plants in the propagation box really, really helped. I think they really thought it was summer because I had the heat mat and the grow light going for 15 hours. Because it was in a box, the humidity was able to be really high and the plants loved it. So if you want your propagations to grow like crazy over the winter, get yourself a propagation box. Should you fertilize your plants over the winter? My answer for me is no. I did not notice like a lot of growth last year, even though air quotes I'm using grow lights. I didn't notice the plants growing a lot, and I honestly think it's okay to just give them a break for a couple of months. They don't need to be constantly producing, in my opinion. I personally would start fertilizing in the spring. This is a tip that is plant specific. If you want to keep your succulents and your cactus outside and your temperatures don't drop below freezing very often, like mine's, you can totally do it. It's just that you have to keep them dry. So if you have a dry place to protect them from the rain, they will do absolutely fine. And if it does rain or snow like it happened here in Seattle last year, just make sure you get the snow off of the foliage, otherwise it will rot. And also I think I only watered it once last winter, the succulents. This winter I'm gonna leave my cactus outside as well, or some of them. I have to look them up individually, but some cactus, and I can say all my succulents were able to live outside last winter. It's just that you have to not water them. And also, if you do water it, which I did once last winter, was I waited for a couple of days where it was sunny and the temperatures were, not below freezing, because it's the freezing temperature that's gonna kill them. Oh, and also the succulents put out really beautiful colors because it was in drought. I'm not gonna talk about grow lights in this video. I made an entire video, we'll link it up above, talking about grow lights, so you can check that out. And also, if you have plants that are more sensitive to freezing temperatures and you want to bring them inside, make sure you do it before it drops below 45 degrees, because most of our tropical plants are from zone 10, so you want to make sure they don't die before you do that. And also you should debug them, and we'll also link the video for how to debug your plants before bringing them back in. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I really hope this video will help you get your plants through the winter. Until next time, happy growing.